Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers Postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name's Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games. This is the man behind Flyperbole. It's Steve Jakob. And Steve, listen, it was not an ordinary game for the Flyers, man. They set a franchise record. Shut out for their third straight game. First time in franchise history it's happened in the regular season. Bill Meltzer took the time to remind many people that in the first round of 2002, of course, they were shut out 3 straight times. Games 2, 3, and 4. They lose in 5.
The youngsters won't know about that, Bill Matz, but
it's
those
been a
were
while.
some dark times.
We're getting back to the old days, I guess. It's more of the fun, but it's that series always cracks me up because it's game 1, 0-0 in overtime. Flyers win it. Don't score for the next 3 games, and then lose game 5, 2-1 in overtime. But listen, that would be like a delicious dessert for this team playing in the playoffs. Now they have now gone, because yes, they did end up scoring in Monday's game an empty net goal against the Devils. But outside of that goal, because it's an empty net goal, they have not scored against a goaltender in 217 minutes and 11 seconds. Going back to Monday, 3 straight shutouts for this team. Oof.
Is that bad?
Listen, you look at this lineup.
It's like a sick joke.
You look at this lineup, and they trade. And I know what we think of Frost and Farabee, but they're like NHL players who, in their careers, have scored at least a decent amount at times.
Frost has double-digit goals this year. You know, he was a guy who was contributing to this team. Now, the level of contribution, we could debate that all day and night. But like sometimes
he would score.
Sometimes he would score. He's a guy who can score goals.
Owen Tippett, I know he frustrates the hell out of us. I know we get a kick out of laughing about Owen Tippett missing the net a lot sometimes. And it's like, yeah, man, if he could put everything together, he'd be a hell of a player. It just seems like a whole bunch of tools, but they're never like in the belt at the same time. But regardless, without those dudes, and then like Ryan Poehling, I know Ryan Poehling doesn't score, but he's like an NHL player.
He's an NHL player
who can at skate. You look at these these centers, it's like, is Noah Cates the fastest center we have by a lot?
By a lot,
and he's not like a speedster. No. He's Flames not Ryan Poehling. You know?
Flames are not shooting out behind his skates. No. He's not melting any ice.
You just look at this lineup and where it is now, and it seems to be, Steve, they have to just survive getting to the Four Nations break. Like Kuzmenko is supposed to be here along with Pelletier for Tuesday's game in Utah. We'll see about the matchup with the Utah Not Yeti.
I'm sure they'll have great chemistry to start.
I bet you they will. But you look at this team right now, and it's like,
it's a mess.
What is today was?
It's a mess, Bill.
Today was stunk. The culmination of like a whole bunch of and they don't have any players, but like.
It was an AHL roster.
17-11 without a goal against the goalie. That's forever.
Forever. Absolutely horrific. Just looking right now, they had a forward today who, again, I'm very happy he made his NHL debut. I feel very happy for him. He played 8 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of time.
Listen, I bet Jakob Gaucher anytime goal today. I'm rooting for him. I hope he sticks, and I hope he's here for at least up until the Four Nations. Like, whatever. It would be cool if he could get a little run in the NHL just because what else are we doing?
Why not?
But, like, he was in the ECHL 2 years ago. Like, I think he might. Yeah, last year he played all with the Phantoms except 3 games in Reading. The year before, he played the whole season in Reading. Like, chances are he's not going to be the dude who makes a difference for you. And, like, Rodrigo at Bulls, man, I like him. He's been okay.
He ain't fast,
He's not going to score, and he's slow. That was, like, what stood out to me most when we watched him in camp or in the preseason. I was like, yeah, he's got some size, and maybe he can do some things for you, but he's not what they need down the middle.
Like, no, not at all.
Slow as dirt. This team right now is just like, I don't even know what to call them.
I'm not here to pick on Gaucher, but not by any means. Like, I'm very happy for him making his NHL debut. And I didn't notice him a ton, but like I didn't notice him in a bad way either. But like 8 minutes on ice when you're already down a forward and you're already playing one less forward, that's pretty brutal. Like you need every forward you can get at that point. And just, I mean, this game stunk. I mean, like the Avalanche felt like they were playing with their food at times. The only guy who I can give kudos to on the Philadelphia Flyers today is Samuel Ersson.
Yeah.
Samuel Ersson played his butt off. He had a great game today, despite that. The score says 2-0, but like Nathan MacKinnon on that second goal, like he just did an all-world play. Like Nathan MacKinnon had like 2 plays today where he came out and MacKinnon them, where he just looked like a man playing against boys.
The one, I don't even know if it resulted in a chance. I think like the shot or something gets blocked.
Yeah, but
like the time it takes him. The neutral zone didn't even exist. Like he goes probably
3 Flyers converged
probably
on him.
Top of the circles from the defensive zone till about the hash marks in the offensive zone. It may have taken a second and a half. Like the neutral zone, I thought the feed skipped. It was unbelievable. It may have taken him 2 seconds to go like 170 feet.
You look up, and again, 3 Flyers converge on him. That's how many Flyers it takes to stop him in this case. And they barely stopped him. Like they headed him off. He's like, all right, fine. I won't directly just will the puck into the net. But that power play goal, which apparently is the first time he's had a power play goal in, what was it, 44 games or something like that?
They said like the day before Halloween or something, or Thanksgiving, whatever it was. Yeah, it's been like 40-some games since he's scored a power play goal. And that's like their power plays ranked, I think it said 18th. And like they've had MacKinnon and Makar all year. They had Mikko Rantanen up until last week.
Yeah.
How?
How?
And like Makar is, I think, second in the league in defensive scoring. He's got 19 goals. MacKinnon leads the league in points. I think he's second in points a game. They just don't score they get all their points at even strength.
But I'll tell you what, if I hadn't heard that factoid, I would not have thought that was the chance, because the way he just confidently shot that puck in, which is just like, he didn't look like he was even trying that hard. It's just like an amazing shot. Like
JJ also said they score a lot 6-on-5, so like on the delayed call. And those don't count as power play goals, I guess.
Which is silly. Yeah. Just count it. But like that shot he made, just Samuel Ersson couldn't do anything about that, because like it's a perfect shot.
It looked like he was warming, like this is just me warming up the goalie.
Yeah.
And like just burns him far glove side.
Like, I got to do it the right way.
Yeah, like just burns. I was like, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
But yeah, I do want to start with Sam Ersson. Yeah. Stops 30 of 32, made some big saves. Flyers like controlled play for the first 12, 13 minutes of this game. The first period was pretty solid for them.
Yeah.
He wasn't tested much, but made some big saves. He kept them in this thing as best he could, coming out of a game where, listen, he gave up 4 on 16 shots, and it's like, oof, that number, like a 750 save percentage, no matter what, is really bad.
Yeah.
But you look at the goals and go like, I don't know. We did that, like, I don't know, 1.5, I blame one. Like,
1.5.
1.5 out of the 4
right, yeah.
I said was on him. And he comes back and you wonder, okay, he got lit up now. You're going to Colorado. I know that they're not the team they've been the last few years in terms of firepower, but
they still have Nathan MacKinnon.
They still have the MVP and like the perennial, you have to beat Makar to win a Norris. Like that's you were better than Makar, you win you were close to Makar. Like you win the Norris. Yeah, like it's him, Hughes, and whoever has the crazy season that you didn't see coming. That's
like
the Norris.
Adam Fox.
Yeah, like that's the Norris trophy. They still have those two guys, you know?
Yeah.
And instead, Ersson comes out with one of his best games of the season, I thought.
Samuel Ersson was really good today. I'm looking at the numbers right now. He had a .938 save percentage today, 30 saves on 32 shots. He really had some clutch moments. And the Flyers had extra defensemen, but they were also missing Rasmus Ristolainen for pretty much the entire third period, which is a big loss. You know, we've said this a lot this year. It's shocking, but Risto's one of their best defensemen now. And not having him, the fact that they didn't allow, like, I went for the over in this game. And you know what? I don't regret it, because it probably should have been hit. Samuel Ersson kept the over from happening. They did a great job. So yeah, kudos to tip of the cap to Samuel Ersson, one of the only Flyers I can really give one to. And it's tough for the Flyers in this game. They're outmatched. They're simply outmatched in this game.
Like I was thinking, especially with this lineup, you see Farabee go. We all know he's not Konecny. He's not Couturier or Laughton in terms of like team leaders, but he is kind of the social coordinator, the bridge between the young and old guys. Like, he's been here a while, but he's still on the younger side.
It's the vibes guy.
Yeah, the vibes guy.
Yeah,
and very
Mojo,
popular.
Dojo, whatever, Casa House.
Yeah, he houses everybody. Like, his house is the spot. Morgan Frost, they all love Morgan Frost. I was very interested to see the test of the culture here, especially because going back to that last Devils game where first period was kind of a continuation of the first two Devils games. Like, oh, they shut them down. This looks good. Second period, Devils finally break through. They score a bunch of goals. It's, well, that was going to happen. Like, you weren't going to kill the Devils 3 straight times. Sure. And then in the third period, I just wanted to, okay, how do they come out? Is it, let's try to salvage this? No, they just kind of rolled over and died. Then the Islanders game happens. The dudes are getting traded in the middle of it. It's kind of nonsense. It's a fake game.
That game doesn't count for anything.
Like, it's like the Penguins game last year when they traded Cutter. Like, game happened, but this is a tree falling in the woods sort of situation. I don't remember it at all.
No.
Then today, you're in this game. Those guys are gone. You have a bunch of call-ups playing. How do they come out? And they came out real well. Like, the start of this game wasn't bad. They had a 9-0 shot advantage through like 12+ minutes. The first period finishes at 10-6. Like, they were doing a pretty damn good job of keeping Colorado at bay and controlling the pace of the game. Then the second period happens.
Man, the Flyers really do not like the second period this season. I can maybe count on one hand the number of great second periods.
They were starting to turn around the second period thing, and now over this like 5 or 6 game stretch where they're just never winning, they're getting outscored. I think it's 12-1 now in the last 5 or 6 games in the second.
I mean, just to see the shot differential go from the Flyers were actually on top at the end of the first period, and then the second period. I remember I looked up in the third period and I was like, wait, the Avs have that many shots now? I couldn't believe it because of how close it was.
The first period was 10-6 Flyers. The second period is 18-7 Colorado.
18-7.
They just absolutely took over. And again, like, this goes back to Sam Ersson. Like, the Flyers were dead at this point. They never had the puck. They really didn't get many chances. And it's kind of just, okay, can Sam Ersson hold them off? And for the most part, he did. But eventually, like, talent's going to win, and that's kind of what happened. But overall, I can't come on and kill them today about the way they looked, because I thought the effort was there. They don't have enough players, but this might start rolling downhill real fast, it feels like.
It's not looking good, my friend, right now. It's not looking good at all. You know, you're just looking at the guys they relied on today. If you're looking at the time on ice, right? Like, you've got Konecny played 25 minutes plus because he had to. That's a lot of minutes for TK.
Yeah. I mean, 25 is a big number for a defenseman.
Yeah, it is.
That's insane.
Forrester played 23 minutes plus. Cates played over 20 minutes. Couturier, though he's like broken at this point, played 17:45. Michkov, who the coach was just screaming at the other day on the bench, got 16:49. Somehow didn't manage a shot in that, but, you know, the effort was there.
He did have one side angle shot that I think hit like the post, so I guess it doesn't
he was doing
count,
some crazy Mish stuff, which I appreciated. Somebody had to do something.
They need to get him to the break so bad.
They need to get him to the break. They also, and this is a problem that's not going to happen this year, but they need to get him a center. They need somebody who can.
Oh yeah, I mean,
because the thing is, teams saw what he did over those first like couple weeks, and they figured out, oh, we need to zero in on this guy. And they don't give him room to work at this point. Nor should they. If you give him room to work, he's going to make some magic happen. But they don't give him room to work, and there's nobody to really help him with that. And, like, the best you got is Couturier, who on the best nights, like, and Couturier did have a couple chances tonight. I'll give him one of the few guys who had chances. But, yeah, like, man, then you go from Michkov to Brink, and then all of a sudden you're looking at Anthony Richard, Scott Laughton, Scott Laughton was getting a lot of time, and then he wasn't all of a sudden.
Well, the game he had, Scott Laughton should have taken a little seat, you know, just based on the standard there is for everyone else. But before we get into that, I want to talk about TK as well. I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Yeah, listen, we took a shot today. We took a shot with Jakob Gaucher on the anytime goal in his NHL debut. You know, parents in the crowd, all that, the emotional lift of your very first game. But as Steve pointed out, he played .808, did have 2 shots on net. but ultimately it doesn't come through for us. But regardless of how our bets go, I place them every single game with our friends at Bet365. My futures are there. All of my big game bets for next week are at Bet365 as well. I've been using it all season. I think you should get in on the action as well. And we have breaking news from our friends at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. What you have to do is sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your initial bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, total, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone who knows a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. While we're here, let me tell you about our friends at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. We have the holidays behind us. There's all sorts of things coming up. Maybe you want to take that big trip to New Orleans. Maybe you got some Valentine's Day shopping to do. Whatever it is. Are you sitting here with a credit card balance that's weighing you down? Well, think about this. What if you could pay it off faster and with zero interest until 2026? Well, you can, because TrueMark Financial is offering zero interest on balance transfers for 12 months. So all your payments can go towards reducing your balance, not just covering interest. Here's what you got to do. Transfer your existing balance from another institution to a TrueMark Financial Visa credit card and take advantage of this amazing offer. But hurry up. You have until the end of this month, February 28th, to apply. Whether you're interested in earning rewards, cash back, or simply prefer a low rate for everyday purchases, with TrueMark Financial, you can choose the credit card that best fits your financial needs. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% balance transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate. And with that, we will get to Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer. It is Charlie O'Connor coming to us live from Denver. How's it going out there, Chuck? What were your thoughts on today's game and any comments from the locker room?
Not many comments from the locker room. As you would expect, no one was in a particularly talking mood, which makes sense. They haven't scored a goal in 3 games. A couple days ago, 2 of their really good friends just got traded, and John Tortorella is, generally speaking, not going to be happy after a performance like that. Look, my view of this game is that I thought for the first, and I put this on Twitter, I put this on Blue Sky, I thought for the first 27 minutes of the game, I thought the Flyers played a really strong defensive game. They were doing a really good job of holding on to pucks, of tight checking. They were completely avoiding misplays, turnovers, bad decisions with the puck. Now, they weren't creating much, and that was a problem, but it did in some ways remind me of the games that they played against the Devils, where, the first 2 games, obviously not the third game where they got blown out, but the first 2 games where they played slow it down hockey and they won, a relatively low scoring game. That's the way it felt until Scott Laughton misses that shot. And he didn't just miss the shot, he misses it to a ridiculous degree. It's a physical mistake, it happens, but when you miss a shot that much on the rush, it's generally speaking going to lead to an odd man rush the other way. And that's what it did. Colorado goes back, they score, and then from that moment on, it just felt like all of those smart plays with the puck that they were making, all of that commitment to defense, like it really, in the end, it boiled down to taking care of the puck, because that's how Colorado was creating their chances. They were creating their chance because the Flyers were turning the puck over. First 27, 28 minutes, they didn't really turn the puck over. Then there was a stretch of like 10 minutes where they just kept turning the puck over and over again. They dialed it back in the third. The third was a little bit more reasonable, normal, I guess you could call it. It wasn't as helter-skelter, as crazy, but that stretch, that 12-minute stretch in the second period, it was a track meet. And there aren't many teams in the league that can compete with the Colorado Avalanche in a track meet. The Flyers are definitely not one of them. There's maybe like 2 or 3 that can. The Flyers are not one of those teams, especially given the fact they were already playing this game shorthanded due to the fact that they traded away 2 of their top 9 forwards, and the 2 guys they got to replace them aren't yet cleared to join the team due to visa issues. Look, they were in a tough spot in this game. Obviously, Colorado's a more talented team. They didn't have their full complement. Owen Tippett wasn't playing. He's one of the few guys who actually can keep up with this Avalanche team from a skating standpoint that the Flyers have. So they were in a tough spot from the jump, but I would have liked to have seen them take care of the puck better during that stretch in the second period, because I felt like that was where they lost it.
Yeah, so you got out there a couple days ago, Charlie, and it seemed like the team was in town until like yesterday. But you mentioned no one was really in the talking mood after the game, and honestly, can't blame them. They haven't scored a goal in, I don't know, a month. But is the mood on the team like off right now after the trades? Is it hard to tell? Because, like, again, they haven't scored in a month. They're probably not all that happy. Like, is the vibe just a little off right now, though?
Yeah, it's really tough for me to tell because I accidentally booked the wrong flight, so I flew out on Friday night. They practiced in Voorhees on Saturday morning before they flew to Denver. I thought they were going to fly out early and then do a practice in Denver on Saturday. I messed that one up. So I haven't really had a chance to talk to the players, one-on-one in a more relaxed environment. Obviously, after a loss like this, no one's going to be feeling like talking. I have to assume that they're pretty broken up over it. Obviously, Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost were popular guys in that room. Also, it goes beyond that. It's the fact that this is a signal to the team that we're selling. I think that definitely serves to decrease morale. It has to. How could it not? Because this is a team that last year, aside from Sean Walker, which was a unique situation, he was a pending free agent. This move was we're breaking up the gang kind of move because you guys haven't played well enough to keep it all together the way you guys want to. And that jolts a team. It does jolt a team. They know now for a fact that this team almost certainly isn't going to make the playoffs. I'm sure on some level they knew it was a long shot, but this is one of those moves that gets made where everybody kind of has to reconcile with the fact that, yeah, this probably ain't the year. They didn't really have to do that last year until the very, very end of the year, and even then they didn't really have to because they technically had a shot all the way to game 82. So, yeah, I'm sure it's hurting morale a bit. That said, they had, if you believe Sean Couturier, they didn't know about the trade all last game. And by last game, I mean Thursday's game. They certainly didn't know about the trades on Wednesday because the trades hadn't happened yet. So they've been getting shut out long before the trade happened. So this is an issue, the scoring issue, which is right now dragging them all the way down. This predates the trade. There's a problem here with offense development and with finishing that goes far beyond them being bummed that Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost aren't on the team.
Nathan MacKinnon scores on the power play with about 2.5 minutes left in the second, Charlie. And after that goal goes in, we don't see Rasmus Ristolainen again for the rest of the game. Do we know if this is injury related? I don't think he's been traded. Like, there's no rumors flying around anywhere. Did we get any sort of update on Risto?
Yeah, I confirmed shortly after the game, spoke with a team source. There was nothing imminent trade-wise that was injury-related. What I've heard is that he was, the word I think that was used was sore before the game. Unsure exactly what it is, but very well could be residual from that. He was sat out in the third period for that reason. And then John Tortorella confirmed as much, said, yeah, I asked, was it injury-related? He said, yes. I don't know what it is. So I'm sure he knows what it is. I'm sure he's not going to reveal it, but it does not appear that, look, and I'm not saying the Rasmus Ristolainen won't get traded at some point in the next 2 days, week, 6 weeks, however long it is now until the deadline. I think there's a very good chance he does, especially given the fact the Flyers have definitely put that for sale sign up in front of their facilities metaphorically at this point. But it does not appear that today was trade related. It seems like that was just because he was banged up in some form or another.
Now, Charlie, one of the few guys that we felt like had a strong game today was Sam Ersson. What did you think of Ersson's performance?
Yeah, I thought he played really well. I honestly felt bad for him. Like, obviously, his stats probably in this game are going to look pretty good, given the fact he only gave up 2 goals. They lose the game, so he takes the loss. But you feel bad for a guy when he has a good game and he gets no support. And look, they're very much we're all in this together kind of team. So I highly doubt that Sam Ersson is, giving his teammates side eyes for not scoring. Also, they played against the friggin' Avalanche. They're a really good team. But no, look, Ersson is facing against the Avalanche. They're a high-powered offensive team, and he gave up only 2 goals. Now, the Flyers did do a good job through large portions of this game of slowing down the Avs. I thought, aside from that 12-minute period in the second, they generally speaking did a good job keeping them to the outside, slowing down their transition and rush game, so that played into it. But Ersson made a couple really, really good saves. He had that one great save on Natchez. Like, he made some big stops, and look, if they're going to pull themselves out of this, and I think at this point the playoffs are done. There's essentially no chance. But if they're going to pull themselves out of this rut they're in where they're losing every single game, they're going to need the goaltending to at least be fine. And tonight, the goaltending was better than fine. They didn't lose this game because of Sam Ersson. He played very well.
Charlie, Emil Andrei, who I read earlier today is one of the worst defensemen to ever suit up for the Flyers.
That was wild.
It was, anyway. Emil Andrei, he makes his triumphant return to the team after being sent down a few months back. He plays 1901. Only Sanheim and Drysdale played more than him on the blue line. Even rating, no shots, but 3 blocks, 3 hits. What did you think of Emil Andrei in his first game back?
Well, I'm going to make the point that John Tortorella clearly had a big problem with me calling him a top 4 defenseman. And then when he gets called back up, John Tortorella immediately uses him again as a top 4 defenseman. Just saying, John, I don't know. Maybe I was right about that evaluation of his usage by you, the head coach of the team. Anyway, how did I think Andrei played? I think he was fine. Look, the whole team wasn't great in this game. I thought he made some nice plays with the puck. He wasn't perfect, but he showed the physical element to his game that is impressive given his relative lack of size. Obviously, he's on the smaller side, but he's got some bulk to him. He's got some muscle, and he's not afraid to mix it up physically, even if he can certainly get pushed around sometimes, as we saw with the Olivier hit he took right before his last emotion. I thought Andrei was fine. He didn't jump out at me the way maybe I would have hoped he would. That said, it's really hard for me to think of anybody in this game on the Flyers other than probably Ersson who did jump out at me as having an obviously great game.
Now, Charlie, there were some people I saw you interacting with earlier today online who were kind of appalled at the Flyers roster management. Can you explain the situation that leads to 11-7 today? Because I just feel like not everybody understands that, sometimes things just don't go your way.
Yeah, this is pretty normal in the NHL. This is not a unique thing. And the reason why I think people get thrown is because there are a lot of times when a player gets traded, rushes to his new team, and boom, he can play. And then when it doesn't happen, fans understandably get frustrated. I get that. The key factor here is the fact that they made a trade with a Canadian team. When the trade involves a U.S. team and a Canadian team, basically it's the same general idea, you need a work visa and whatnot, but you need different papers, different types of papers to work for a U.S.-based team versus working for a Canadian-based team, even if you're functionally doing the same job and you're going back and forth across the border. It's basically look at it this way. And I know this is simplifying it because I don't believe these teams are quite companies, but Jakob Pelletier and Andrei Kuzmenko, for the last year plus, I guess, however long they've been with the Flames, were working for a Canadian company. Now they are going to be working for a U.S. company, so they need to get the paperwork from the U.S. government, essentially, to make sure everything's on the up and up, even though they're playing with a Canadian company in the U.S. It's complicated, it's annoying, and it screwed over the Flyers in this case because they're just not ready yet. But this isn't a new thing. This is something that's pretty normal whenever there's trades between U.S. and Canadian teams. The hope, my understanding, is that they'll both be good to go by Tuesday. I'm hoping they're going to be good to go by Tuesday because I'm going to be at that game. I'd like to see their debuts, but unclear if it'll be done that quickly. I don't know what's going on with the U.S. government at this point, so we'll see. But in any case, this is pretty normal in terms of NHL, Canadian, U.S. team trades for the guys that take a little bit of time.
And it's probably a little more complicated. Kuzmenko, a Russian citizen, Morgan Frost can just go. Because he's Canadian.
He's Canadian.
That's real freaking easy.
Exactly.
And Farabee, I think it's a little different when you go U.S. to Canada than it's Canada to U.S. Plus, our government's a little different right now. I forget what I was going to ask next.
I got something. I got something up here. So one of the warm bodies that they pulled to play in today's game was Jakob Gaucher made his NHL debut. Real cup of coffee kind of game with 8 minutes played. What were your thoughts on young Jakob there?
Yeah, I have very minimal thoughts about Jakob Gaucher in this game. And that's, I don't mean, I'm not burying him.
No.
I didn't notice him that much. He made, I guess, a couple plays along the boards that were noticeable where you could tell he's a big guy, but he certainly wasn't doing anything dynamic. Look, it's his first game in the NHL. I'm happy for him. I think his family was there for the game. They showed them on the broadcast, which is great. Real happy for him. It was a long road for him, to be sure. Not being drafted, playing in the ECHL, getting an entry-level contract, now getting in the NHL. But I wouldn't say he did anything. And in fairness to him, he didn't get a ton of ice time to do much with, but I wouldn't say he did anything that jumped out at me as anything spectacular. We'll see if he gets in the next game on Tuesday. That might be dependent upon, whether Pelletier and Kuzmenko are ready to go for Tuesday's game.
I bet that anytime goal today in his debut, it didn't go for us, Charlie.
Well,
but nobody scored. What are you going to do? It's not like I could have bet on someone else. All right, it is now time. Have fun with this one, Chuck. It is time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. Lead it off with star number 3.
All right, you know what? I'll go with Sam Ersson. Why not? He played well. I'll give a Flyer a star. He had a good game. 32 saves on 32 shots. It's a .938 save percentage. That's pretty darn good. Not going to lie. Sam Ersson, the only Flyer on this team today, I would say, who had an obviously above average strong performance. I'll give him 3rd star.
I would agree with that. All right, Charlie, hit us with star number 2.
Yeah, star number 2, I'll go with Jonathan Drouin. 2 assists. I thought he was noticeable all game. He's on that second line, not the MacKinnon line. He's on with Casey Middling stats, and
loves it.
Ooh, Dunks. Dr. Dunks is in the house.
And Drouin played well. I thought he had a strong game. 2 assists for Jonathan Drouin. 2nd star of the game.
It's finally coming around for the hashtag I Dream of Drouin crowd. That's 22 points in 21 games this year. So he's been pretty good for them. All right, Chuck, who was tonight's 1st star?
Yeah, I'll give it to Mackenzie Blackwood. He gets the shutout. I'm not saying the Flyers created a ton, but they created some chances. They had some opportunities. They could have scored a goal, late in the 3rd, early in the 1st when they were actually generating something. I think they started the game out 7-0 shots on goal. They had some chances. They had some jump. And I do want to make it clear, despite the fact they got shut out in this game, I made a joke during the game because if you're following the trade, the Dallas Mavericks traded away their star player Luka Doncic, and that team got blown the hell out in their first game without him. And I made the joke
had 91 at halftime.
Yeah, I made the joke that I love me a workers strike. That was not what this was. That was not what this was. The Flyers came out. They came out hard. They were playing with effort. This was not a them playing with their hands tied behind their back out of protest. They are trying. The effort is still clearly there. It's just that, number 1, the Avs are a lot better. Number 2, they're clearly in a rut. Number 3, they don't have their full complement of players, both from an injury standpoint and from the simple fact that there's the realities of the roster with visas and everything like that. So I don't think the Flyers, tanked this by any means. I think they tried. I think they care. They're just not playing well right now. Simple as that.
All right, Charlie, one last thing before I let you go. Tuesday in Utah. Do the Flyers score a goal?
Yes.
Right.
They will score a goal. I will say that.
One yes. They have matched a franchise record. They've never done it in the regular season, but in the postseason, they were shut out 3 straight games by Ottawa in 2002. This is the first
Your favorite team.
First time in the regular season. Let's see if they can break their record. All right, Chuck, I will talk to you tomorrow or Tuesday or whenever I see you next.
All right, sounds good. See you guys.
Take it easy. That is Charlie O'Connor, Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter. He is in Denver. He will be in, Salt Lake City for Tuesday's game. I'm pretty sure he's going to join us remotely for Monday's show. We'll see.
Guess we'll find out.
I don't think we've talked about it yet. I don't know if we've sorted that out. This is what happens when they put me in charge of scheduling. Anyway, before we finish up, we still have half an hour left.
We're going to figure it out,
Before we get to the second half of today's show, I got to tell you about our friends at Glatt Hair Restoration. That's right. If you've been listening to sports radio in this town for any length of time, even before he was with PHLY, you've heard John Marks tell you about Glatt Hair. He's not just a spokesman. He is a patient. And Johnny's hair, man, he got it done over a decade ago. It still looks great. And they have come such a long way in that time. And Glad Hair is now under the direction of Dr. Morgenstern, a highly respected plastic surgeon. If you're wondering, well, what's changed though? Well, you still get the same peerless approach to care, the same expert team, same unmatched GLAT system, same state-of-the-art location, and the same stellar results because each member of the exceptionally trained GLAT restoration team brings 30-plus years of industry experience. Hair restoration is all they do, from laser light therapy to non-invasive TED treatments, vitamin supplementation, topical and oral medications, PRP and stem cell restoration, and hair restoration surgery. And each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment because not everyone's hair is the same. Not everyone's in the same stage of hair loss. They personalize it for you. So check it out because bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, GLAT Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit GLATHairMCTR.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started today. While we're here, let me tell you about our friends at Ace Hardware Home Services. That's right, because if you've got a leaky pipe at Ace Hardware Home Services, they're around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the person to do the fixing. Same goes for your air conditioning issues, the leaky faucet, whatever it is, they have a person for that too, because now they're not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project today. All right, I want to talk a little bit about Travis Konecny right now. I realized who they're without. I mean, they had no good centers to begin with. The one guy on the team who plays center and sometimes puts up points, they traded. Joel Farabee, he's been up and down the lineup this season. He's been mostly ineffective in terms of scoring, but he's scored in his career. He's gone. Owen Tippett is out injured. Matvei Michkov is clearly struggling. No shots on goal today. Rough game. At least like at
least at the stat line.
Yeah, a rough stat line today for Michkov. I didn't think he was like particularly bad. He just didn't stand out.
Nobody was particularly good today on offense.
Nobody.
They didn't score any goals.
Here's the thing. No one on this team can score except for Travis Konecny. So it's hard to put the whole thing on him when the team can't score because it's like, well, someone else could every now and then. You know, he's still over a point a game. But he plays 25-16 today. He doesn't score. He has no goals in 7 straight and only 1 goal in his last 13 games. Now, I have said a bunch of times, I think there's something the matter with him. He's not shooting nearly as much. Like his shots per game over the last like 10, 13 games are half of what they were in the first 40 or so. I just think there's something, a shoulder or a wrist or something stopping him from shooting as effectively as he did to start the season.
It's a good thing that there isn't like an international tournament coming up that he'll be relied upon.
Rest, But that's part of it. Like, I am worried. I mean, what does it really matter? I guess, like, yeah, they stink and TK isn't scoring, but I don't know. I need to see a little more out of him right now, too. I realize, like, the weight is on him. He is the whole offense. But they've been shut out in 3 straight. They haven't scored a goal against a goalie. And, like, listen, that empty net goal, he made the whole thing happen to set up Scott Laughton. He made the play to get it out of the zone. Then he made the play to take it away from the defender. And then he got it to Scott Laughton. He's been contributing offensively with a ton of assists lately, even though, you know, again, 3 straight games, no one scored. But, like, he needs to be a little better.
He's the leading scorer on this team by a mile.
If I'm going to give him all of the praise that I gave him to start this year, I think it's only fair that I point out 1 goal in his last 13 games.
Well, he's also one of the designated leaders on this team.
Yes.
He wears the A for a reason. He is a guy they rely upon for leadership and to lead by example. So if he's not leading by example, if he's not scoring, who's going to score on this team? He's one of the only guys. I mean, if you look at the Flyers' top scorers, it's TK
hilarious.
with 58 points in 53 games played. And then it's all the way down to 34 points for Matvei Michkov, who is a 20-year-old rookie. And then it's Owen Tippett with 30, which I know we expected more than that from Owen Tippett this year.
That's the complete lack of support. No one thought this team was going to come out and be Colorado. You know, we have like 2 guys who are going to have 200 points. So, like, who cares? Like, obviously it needs to be a collective, but it just feels like outside of Cates and Forster for 2 weeks, nobody, and like Michkov, first 27 games, he was a point-a-game player, but there's just been no help for TK on offense since game 30.
Yeah, and it's, look, say what you will about Frost, but it's getting worse without Frost.
Sure.
There was some nice continuity for a little bit where you were seeing Tippett with Frost and connecting, and they were building up some chemistry there. Obviously, Cates and Forrester have built up a ton. They were broken up from Brink today because they tried TK out there, which I think was the right move. If that's the closest you have to a top line right now. I kind of wouldn't have minded maybe putting it with Michkov again, though, just to, I don't know, try and spark something there. But if you want to look at the lack of scoring depth on this team, now that Morgan Frost has been traded, Scott Laughton is 4th on this team in points with 25. And Scott Laughton actually had some of the better offensive chances today, which did lead directly to a Colorado goal at one point when he just ripped a shot and completely missed. And it went so hard wide that it bounced around the boards, went to Colorado, and they took it back the other end. Like, which is just wild to think about. Like, we all like Scott Laughton a lot, but if Scott Laughton is your 4th leading scorer on the team,
That's
a problem. Yeah.
Especially like he had all of his points in the
like
Detroit
3 games. Yeah. The
like,
Detroit game and then like that Kraken game, I think, early on.
And I do want to talk about Scott Laughton because, again, I like him a lot. We give him a lot of praise. I know there's a lot of people out there who criticize Scott Laughton, and mostly the franchise's seeming lack of interest in trading Scott Laughton. I hate the idea that there's accountability for some people and not everyone. I do think that is a bit of an issue sometimes. Like, I get it. Like, you're trying to mold Matvei Michkov to be this perfect, like, machine who generates all these scoring chances and also plays the right way and does everything. I get it, because this is your chance to create the greatest player.
Perhaps a Russian machine that does not break.
Maybe never breaks, yeah. I get, like, this is you're taking this opportunity as John Tortorella to, like, I am going to create the perfect player. All right, good luck. Good luck with all that. But I saw the Colorado Avalanche score 2 goals today. Both of them a direct result of things Scott Laughton did. Let's go with the miss first on the first goal. I realize they're on offense, and this penalty doesn't necessarily apply in the offensive zone. But he missed by so bad, you have to think about giving them a delay of game penalty if that puck gets out. Like, he must have been trying to miss by that much. And Charlie said, listen, it's a physical mistake. It happens. Yeah, man, if Jeff Carter misses by that much, like, you want him ripping every shot, and sometimes it's not the best shot selection because he's going to score 30, 40 goals. I get it. Sometimes that happens. Matvei Michkov doesn't hit the net every time. It happens. Scott Laughton is a player that can't make the big mistakes. He's not good enough. He's not going to make up for it somewhere else. Like, yeah, man, if 1 out of 5 shots goes wide and they get a rush, but I score on 2 of them, like, I'm +1. That's not Scott Laughton. And I just had a real it was a huge mistake. All right.
Well, think about the MacKinnon shot, right? That MacKinnon goal. Perfect shot. Absolutely just perfect shot. And Scott Laughton tries to make that. Scott Laughton can't make that shot. If he tried 1,000,000 times, he might hit it like, I don't know, 1,000. Like, he just can't do it like Nathan MacKinnon can. And that's a situation where this always drives me nuts with the Flyers, where the Flyers have odd man rushes and they try to get the perfect damn shot. And it's like, no, get it on the pads so then you can go and try and jam a rebound home.
They put home like 2 rebounds.
This team's been so lousy with rebounds forever at this point, and it drives me insane.
It's one of the things, like, all right, we don't have that many guys who can just score. You know, sure, Owen Tippett when he's good, Tyson Forster when he can get it off, Matvei Michkov, Travis Konecny. Okay. Why isn't the offensive strategy, like, create a tush-push?
Yes.
Like, madness in... I know
Brotherly
they're going to...
shove that home. Let's
they are absolutely going to take some away for goaltender interference. But they score none now, so what's the difference?
It makes it chaos, man. Like, Wayne Simmons is in the organization. Call Wayne Simmons up to just give a TED talk to these guys about just creating havoc in front of the net.
I heard, like... a few years ago, sometimes Bobby Clark would still show up to practice and be like, I'm going to teach y'all how to win every face-off.
And that's what he did with Giroux.
Yeah.
I remember a specific story where he taught Claude Giroux how to be a great face-off
And then he became like a 60% guy.
Yeah.
Like, Wayne, teach a little tutorial here.
Yeah.
But
just
like,
come in and teach the boys, like, create some havoc. And the thing is, at the beginning of the season, when Michkov was still hot, Michkov was getting those dirty opportunities. Yeah. And I was really hoping that the team would learn from that. They learned nothing.
So the Laughton miss, that's one thing. Like Charlie said, physical mistakes happen. Sure. All right, you missed the net. It happens. The penalty he takes, it's like he forgot which player he was. Like, if you're the last man back, it's a loose puck through the neutral zone coming into the Flyers' offensive zone. If you're the Colorado defender, I think it was Josh Manson, and the forward has a step on you, you're the last man back. Sure, hook him. Absolutely. Do whatever you have to do to prevent a breakaway, a goal. Take the penalty. Hook the man down. Scott Laughton is hooking the defender who is trying to keep him from the puck. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
So weird.
Like, I don't know if I've ever seen the forward hook the defenseman in that situation where it's not like the Flyers are changing and he has a 4-on-0 if he gets to the puck first that he can send an outlet pass. There was nothing like that. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but that's not a physical mistake. That's just dumb hockey. And, of course, Nathan MacKinnon scores final, I think, 2.5 minutes of the second period, and that's it. Like, that's it. Now it became, can the Flyers even score at all? Before that, it's a 1-goal game. Like, all right, man, maybe we get a deflection off someone's ass and it's a tie game. Like, I don't know. Buck bounces off the boards and hits the goalie in the back of the head and goes in. I don't know.
I've seen a puck from center ice fall behind John Van Beesbrook's back before into the net. Like, I've seen some weird goals. Like, and that goes back to also the first one. It's like, get it on net and weird stuff can happen. I don't know why the Flyers' philosophy it feels like since 2010, the Flyers' philosophy has been, let's set up the perfect opportunity. Let's just try to make a perfect goal. No, get some dirty goals, John LeClair style.
Like, the way this team plays and like their talent level, you set up the perfect goal. It probably still won't go in because who's shooting it?
I think there's 3 guys. No, there's 2 guys that I would trust to bury the perfect shot.
There just needs to be, and it's crazy to me that a John Tortorella team isn't more focused on creating havoc in the middle of the ice. Maybe they just can't get there. Maybe they don't have anyone who can handle the puck into the dirty areas. Like, that's a possibility. I'm just somewhat baffled sometimes by this team's offensive, not even just like their strategy, their philosophy. Yeah. Like, why is it seems skill-based when like the GM and coach says all the time, we don't have any skill. That seems silly to then base it on, like, well, if we play a perimeter game, like,
I hate the perimeter game. I hate it so much, Bill.
Like, the Devils can play a perimeter game because they have a ton of talent. But even the Flyers, like, in 7 out of 9 periods, were able to stymie that with some really good defense. If the Flyers are playing a perimeter game, they're never going to score, as is evidenced by 217 minutes and 11 seconds without scoring against a goalie.
One of the few guys that actually, like, attacks down low like that sometimes is Garnet Hathaway, who Garnet Hathaway will be the first guy to tell you that he shouldn't be getting more minutes. He shouldn't be a guy. But, like, I like his example. He had one of the better chances today when I saw him drive the puck to the net. Like, he actually drove the puck to the net and had one of the Flyers' best chances on the day. Get in the crease.
Cates took the puck to the crease a couple of times and, like, created a few opportunities. Again, I don't expect you to beat the Avs. But when your goalie plays this well and you have a chance, like, put yourself in position.
It was only a 2-goal game.
Yeah, like, you lose 2-0. That's a winnable game.
That's a very winnable game.
The other team scores 2, you always have a chance.
Mackenzie Blackwood let up 4 goals in the last 2 games before this. Okay, Mackenzie Blackwood has not been on a great streak. I was looking at his game log beforehand. Not a great streak over there. So, like, this is a beatable goalie, okay? This is a guy who's bounced around. I think this is his 3rd different team now. Like,
yeah, he's been good for Colorado, but it's because, like, they were getting worse goaltending than we were to start the year, which is somehow possible.
Like, he started off good with the Devils, and then he struggled, and same thing. Like, I think he was up and down for the Sharks. I didn't follow him closely because I don't care about the Sharks. But, like, when it comes down to, like, the Avalanche, like, he's been good for them. the past like 6 or so games, like his stats were not that impressive. This was a winnable game, but the Flyers had an AHL roster. So I'd prefer if they just attacked like the dirtiest, filthiest way they could have.
All right, before we go any further, I got to tell you about one of our big events coming up here. It's our road trip. That's right. We're going to Montreal, fam. We are headed up to the Great White North with Philly Sports Trips. Philly Sports Trips puts on a hell of a trip. I believe they are right now out in Utah. I was talking to some people who were going, and they were so excited. Like, the itinerary looks so much fun.
I hope they BYOB it out there, though.
I hope so. I hope so. Philly Sports Trips puts on a hell of an event, and they are taking us to Montreal for the Flyers Habs game on April 5th. We're going out from the 4th to the 7th. You can go to allphly.com right now, click that events tab, and find all different tiers of travel. You can have round trip airfare, hotel stay, tickets to the game, all access, really fun, meet and greet with Brian Propp, a pregame party. So much good stuff going to be happening on this trip. You got to come out with us. Go to allphly.com right now and make sure you bookmark that events tab, because we always got good stuff going on. It is quite often that we have some events. There's even some other trips and things listed right now. So check it out at allphly.com. Come to Montreal with me, Charlie, and Kelly.
Do it. I mean, Montreal's supposed to be like hockey mecca. It's supposed to be one of the great hockey destinations. Like, you got to go on this trip. It's going to be awesome. Like, go check it out. Get some poutine, friends.
I was actually sitting, like, before I left today, just thinking about the trip. Like, all right, it's coming up. Make sure where my passport is. Like, all right, I got one of these.
That's a big one.
Yeah,
if you're going on this trip, and get it handled right now.
Yeah, like when
don't delay. Do it like Monday morning.
When you need it done quickly, it's like thousands of dollars. So
I've had to do that. Don't do that. But if you have to do that, hit up the DMs. I can help you out.
Yeah, Steve just went through that process, but maybe you could have helped Kuzmenko and Pelletier get here a little faster.
They should have called me. I don't know why they didn't call me. Those guys, I am so curious about what their fit is going to be on this team and what they can actually do. We talked about this briefly in pregame, but like, Kuzmenko is one of the oddest players, stat line wise, I have ever seen in my life. I'm pulling it up right now. So he's been in the NHL. This is now his 4th season. Season 1, 74 points in 81 games played. Unbelievable. That's fantastic. 2nd season, 21 points in 43 games.
But then he gets traded to Calgary, and he's good. 25 points in 29 games to close out that season. Good for him. And then he comes back with Calgary this year. 15 points in 37 games. Like,
not great, Bob.
How? How do you have these wild swings? And that's like, I think he and Mish could be really good tandem on the power play. Like, maybe Kuzmenko in the bumper, and you have Michkov getting him pucks from behind the net and from the half wall. I think that could be good. I would love to see them play together on Couturier's wings. But, like, can you do that to Couturier?
That's a lot of work to put on a guy with a broken back.
Yeah, like, can you do that? I wonder if the coach will have any interest in putting those guys together.
Like, you might have to put Noah Cates in the middle there.
Yeah, maybe.
If they're going to create fireworks, like, I think Noah Cates will gladly go and do the defensive grunt work, or you might have to just go get like a defensive specialist. Like, Chuck Fletcher is thinking back to 2020 trade deadline when he hears that.
Oh, let's go get Nate Thompson playing in between Michkov and
Derek Grant. Let's get them both.
Grant and Nate Thompson. Why just get one when you can get both?
But the better center that the Islanders acquired, that's too expensive for us.
Yeah. I'm real interested. Like, Pelletier, I think, can fit anywhere in this bottom 6. Sounds like he's an energetic guy. I think Danny used the word spunk or spunky 2 or 3 times, which really made me laugh during the press conference the other day.
Oh, Danny!
How many super chats do we have, Brent? 2. Okay, but yeah, I want to see. I'm real interested to see where Kuzmenko fits in, because, like, I don't expect him to stay. No. In fact, if maybe you hold on to him just because it's a buddy for Michkov, but I even think it's a real possibility that, say he has like a few goals in between now and the trade deadline, let's see what we can get for him. Why not? Like, why not add on to the to the return you got for Farabee and Frost by flipping Kuzmenko. We'll see, though.
Yeah.
I do want to see those two play together and just see how it goes. Like,
Why not?
they had a little time in the K together before Kuzmenko came over to North America. I think it would be interesting.
We got to make these last couple months interesting somehow.
If this is the way it's going to go, let's see weird stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's been a rough week.
If Kuzmenko just infuriates the coach, that'll be funny too.
Yeah, I read a comment, I think it was on The Athletic, where somebody said, Kuzmenko feels like the kind of player who was designed in a lab to infuriate John Tortorella.
All right, let's get to those super chats. And we have an interesting one here from JH. He says, Rocky or the players asking for a Philadelphia. And
We talking Thompson?
yeah, Rocky Thompson. I
We
saw
talking
this.
Rocky, or why is Rocky still here?
Yeah, like this team, especially like today in particular, yeah, they don't have the players to have a good power play. But Alex Appleyard tweeted this out a little earlier. I'm going to see if I can find it.
Yeah.
The overall numbers, Rocky Thompson in his career running a power play. So he was in San Jose running the power play there from in the 2020-21 season. 14.1%, 29th in the NHL. That's insane that there were that many teams under 14%.
That is really insane.
We had to be one of them, right?
We had to.
Phil, and then he comes here, his first year in Philly, 15.6%, 32nd. Last year, obviously, 12.2, 30, like 12.2.
It's a sick joke.
12.2. And this year, they're all the way up to 28, 15.7. Like, this is the best power play he's had here.
Yikes.
In his 4 years running a power play, 15.7, which 2 years ago at 15.6 was 32nd, 28th and 15.2, both the best he's ever been.
And this is all because Michkov was a monster to start the season.
Yeah, it's because they scored a few in the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for that, they'd be at 10%.
Michkov was just insane to start the season. And if it wasn't for that, like, there's a lack of creativity with the personnel in there that you see on the power play. There's just no
They don't
plan.
move.
They don't move. They don't look like they know what they're doing, and that's a coaching issue to me. It's 100% Rocky. Like, the personnel could be better. I'm sorry. You do have things to work with, though. You do have Travis Konecny. You have Owen Tippett. You have Matvei Michkov. And you have some talented guys at the blue line. Jamie Drysdale, Cam York. I'm trying. They got a bunch of guys who have talent at the blue line. Like, there are pieces to work with. It's a lack of originality.
The total for Rocky Thompson as a power play coach in the NHL, 273 games, 14.2%. 111 goals on 782 opportunities.
I think he needs to find a new role. Like, I don't think power plays for you, my
Maybe
friend.
he's good at other stuff. It ain't this.
No.
That's all.
Find
All
a
right.
new niche.
And from Catholic Nano says Andrei was their best D-man today, played with a huge chip on his shoulder. Further proof he should have never been sent down. I think he's really good. I also think he puts himself in position to get killed, and he needs to do that less, and maybe getting him out of the NHL for a little bit just to like work on what he needs to work on so that when he comes back, it's like, this is what I need to do to get out of, like that hit that Charlie referenced from Olivier. He had a second and a half to get out of there and just took the hit. He's not going to play because he's hurt if he plays that way. I don't have the biggest problem with him being sent down, but like, yeah, he's good and he should be playing up here. I get it. They just think it's better for his development, and I don't necessarily disagree, but at this point, I want to watch him because the rest of the team stinks. And real quick, Steve, before we go any further, just want to say we appreciate those of you watching on TV. Head over to allphly.com for more of the show.
Yeah, I want to watch him too, and I do agree he was one of the better ones today, and I want to watch him, but the situation has changed. Like we were talking about with Charlie,
Yeah.
the Frost and Farabee trade is a huge white flag from this team that they don't really consider the playoff race a race anymore. Like, it's done. So if that's the case, until Ristolainen is traded, like if Ristolainen is traded, that's a big if right now. We don't know if that's going to happen.
We need to find out about this injury. Charlie said he's sore, and like, listen, he's played a ton of minutes.
Sore.
He's played a ton of minutes. You don't want to get him hurt worse, I guess. You also dressed 7 D-men today, so you can just be like, all right, take it easy, big man.
Yeah.
You know, like
Sounds like
What are we winning this game?
Are we gonna win this game against the Avalanche? Not a chance. But no, looking back at it though, like I do want to see Andrei play, but like this team's not winning anything. So if he needs to develop at Lehigh Valley and Nick Sealer can take like 60 more pucks this season, like that's fine. I really I don't care anymore.
I thought that was the big misconception when he got sent down. Like they value Zamula more. It's like actually, if they didn't value Andrei, they just leave him up here to get killed.
They would leave him up here to get killed, and they would just let Zamula pass the waivers.
Exactly.
They don't care. But like I do agree though. Andrei was like, I noticed him.
He made some passes.
He's one of their better defensemen. I want to see him up here. I'm just hoping whatever is the plan right now that Danny Briere seems to be working on, that Andrei is part of what they come back with strong next season.
I don't see he has to be one of their 6 next year, and he has to be one of their 6, if not for the rest of the year, at least after March 7th. He is good. I don't know how good. He looks like a top 4 guy. It looks like there's a lot there. We'll see, but he's worth finding out about. He was, if not one of their best defensemen today. All right, Steve, that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Postgame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure you're following us right here. We'll be back at 4 p.m. tomorrow, so hit subscribe on the YouTube page. Set that reminder bell so you get notifications for every live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers, and follow the podcast as well. And if you're like, opening up podcast, why not check out Flyperbole? It's pretty freaking good as well. That's right. This man right here at Flyperbole. All right. My name is Bill Matz. That's Steve Jakob. Until tomorrow, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.